Welcome to the Home Team, the show where no matter who you root for, here you're a part of the Home Team. I'm your host, Wyatt Bagnall, and today I am previewing Week 14 of the 2024 NFL season. Before we jump in, hit like, hit subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Share this video with anybody you know who likes football. And without any further ado, let's jump in, shall we? So, starting off, we already had Detroit and Green Bay, which turned out to be a great game, just like I was hoping for. And I'm actually quite proud of that I actually got that video, or my predictions for that video, pretty much correct. So I really was happy with that game on the whole. But moving on to Sunday. Jacksonville, they go to Tennessee to take on the Titans in a bottom-of-the-barrel AFC South battle, I suppose you could call it. Who do I want to win this game? I think I want Tennessee to win this game because I think the Titans have played harder all year than the Jags. And I think that I'd like to see them notch a win here. I also think that for the sake of the Jaguars going forward, with Trevor Lawrence being put on injured reserve, the best thing that can happen for the Jaguars is to just be as bad as you can. I think it's already a foregone conclusion that Doug Peterson will not be keeping his job past this year. Unless the Jags are completely dysfunctional, which they may well be, Trent Baalke should not have that job. Frankly, I would have never hired Trent Baalke to have that job. So I think the best thing for Jacksonville is to get rid of him, get rid of Doug Peterson, do everything you can to bring in an offensive guy. I know that everyone knows Ben Johnson's going to be selective about his job. I would not be as surprised if he took this job. It really just depends on your belief in Trevor Lawrence. But Shad Khan, he's an owner that's willing to spend money. He's spent it on the wrong people, but he's been willing to spend money. So I think that the Jags are, if they were to really make a push for a great head coach, they could probably get one of those guys. You would just have to hope that they believe in Trevor Lawrence still. As for Tennessee, it's a lost year, obviously. It's still a little iffy as to if they get a new quarterback rather. I don't think they'd take one in the first round. I think that the consensus right now is that there's only two quarterbacks that'll go in the first round, and neither of those two are necessarily great quarterback prospects, but it's just the desperation for the position that those two guys will go from probably like low first-round grades to being picked in the top 10. And if you're Tennessee, I think the worst thing you can do is reach for like the third or fourth guy and just try to get a legitimate blue-chip prospect. So I'm going to hope that the Titans win, and given that Trevor Lawrence is out, I'm going to say that the Titans will. Jets at Dolphins. I hope Miami wins this game because frankly, at this point, I'm one of the people enjoying the comedy of the Jets. But also, I like Mike McDaniel. I like Tua. I don't think Miami's making the playoffs this year, but I would like for them to keep some momentum going into the offseason. If Miami was to make major changes this offseason, I think that'd be a mistake. And I think that a win here would go a long way. So I'm going to pick the Dolphins to win this game as well, given that it's in Miami. If this game was up in New York in the cold, I'd feel a little worse about it. I think that that's something Miami needs to focus on a lot going forward in building this team is the capacity to build a physical team because not everybody, unless you're going to have the one seed, you're going to have to travel to a cold place. And I think that the Dolphins need to take a look in the mirror and evaluate the type of team they've built. But I hope they win this game, and I think they will. I don't know if Breece Hall and Sauce Gardner are going to be playing for the Jets this week, on top of the fact that they're just bad on the whole. So I'll take the Dolphins. Atlanta at Minnesota, the Kirk Cousins revenge game, if you will. Atlanta's talented. They got the talent to win any game, but they just aren't showing up consistently enough. And Minnesota is equally talented, and they show up. I think that the Falcons are going to be outcoached, and I hope Minnesota wins this game because I think that them having momentum going into the playoffs is a good thing for the playoff picture. They're a very sneaky team that in the NFC, you got the Lions in a class of their own, the Eagles right beneath them, and then I would say Minnesota's in that same group with the Eagles in that they could beat any team on their best day. But on their worst day, they could also be had. And I think that it's better to have teams playing good going into the playoffs. So I hope that Minnesota wins this game. And I just think they will. I haven't liked what I've seen from Atlanta. Their talent's not being utilized. Other than Bijan. Bijan Robinson's having a great year. But Kirk Cousins doesn't look like he recovered from that Achilles in the way that you would want. And as a result, unless you're going to tell me that they're going to start playing Michael Penix right now, I just don't think it's time. And even if they do, who knows? He might not be ready to just jump in and try to lead a playoff push for the Falcons. So I'm going to take the Vikings in Minnesota. New Orleans at the New York Giants. I assume Drew Lock will start this game again, although we thought Tommy DeVito. Name Tommy DeVito, plays like Danny DeVito. Although we thought Tommy DeVito was going to be playing the last game, and then like right before game time, they switched it. So I'm going to operate under the assumption Drew Lock would play this game. Malik Neighbors apparently got a little injury in practice. I think he said it was a hip flexor on Thursday. He's questionable to play. He's missed some time with injuries already this year. I don't know if he's going to play again. I hope he plays. As for New Orleans, they play tough, I guess. Like I've never thought the Saints were quitting out there. I just thought that at a certain point the Saints just didn't have the horsepower to really compete with all these teams. And listen, they could compete with the Giants. You know what? I kind of hope the Giants win because I like Brian Daboll and I want him to keep that job as the Giants coach. But I don't know. I feel like the Saints might be better and they might just be a little tougher, even though I like the Giants coaching staff a lot more, which could be the difference. Oof. This is one I don't love either way. New Orleans Giants. Give me the Giants because they're at home. Right now I picked all 4 home teams to win, which I don't love that. There's always an upset in there, and it could definitely be the Saints. But I'm going to take the Giants because I got a lot of faith in Brian Daboll as a coach. Carolina at Philadelphia. Credit to Carolina. They've played a lot of teams like really close, and Bryce Young has looked a lot better since coming back, and I hope Carolina wins this game, but Philadelphia is going to win this game. There's not that much to break down here. The Panthers' defense is atrocious, and they're not going to be able to stop the Eagles' run game, and if you can't stop the Eagles' run game, you can't beat the Eagles. Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Tough game, rematch from 2 weeks ago. The Browns won that game in the snow. I hope Pittsburgh wins this game because I want them to win the AFC North. And I think they're going to win this game. I think they'll split the series. I don't see the Browns sweeping the Steelers. And I don't really think the Browns are the better team on the whole. They beat them in Cleveland, which that's fine. AFC North football, those games can be close. But I don't think they're going to go into Pittsburgh and get a win there. So I'm going to take the Steelers to beat the Browns in a pretty straightforward one. Las Vegas at Tampa Bay. Raiders are pretty freaking terrible this year. This was one, I don't think anybody's surprised by that. I guess I could be wrong. Was there a whole bunch of optimism from people like going into the year for the Raiders? Because this was one where right from the start, I was like, that's a bad one. And Tampa's overachieved. I thought Tampa was going to be a little bit worse. I thought they overachieved last year, but they have proven me wrong. I think that they're just a good team. And as a result, I hope they win. I hope they make the playoffs by winning the South because Atlanta's just not earning it. And I think that they'll beat the Raiders, pretty comfortably. I don't think the Raiders show much fight. I don't think they're particularly talented outside of Brock Bowers and Max Crosby and guys like that. So give me the Bucks. Seattle at Arizona. Big NFC West game. If Seattle wins this game, unless the Rams and Niners were to win, this would give Seattle a pretty good shot to win the NFC West. I hope Arizona wins. I'm going to take Arizona. Given that it's in Arizona, I'm going to take them, although this is another one where the road team could definitely win, as Seattle won this game earlier this year in Seattle. I'm picking this one mostly based off the fact I would just rather see Arizona win. So give me Arizona. I'm rooting for them. Buffalo at the Rams. Ooh, if you're the Rams, this is not the type of game you want when you really could use a win. I mean, I hope the Bills get the 1 seed, so I hope the Bills win this game, and I think that they will. I think that the Bills are going to, make pretty easy work of the Rams, I want to say. Like, I think the Rams are going to be able to put up more of a fight than my freaking beat-up Niners team was able to. But I don't think that the Rams are all that much of a threat to the Bills unless you just catch the Bills on a day where they just don't show up. So I'll take the Bills to go to LA and beat the Rams. Chicago at San Francisco. Oh, God. This game scares me. The Niners, it's just not our year. Massive, massive condolences to Trent Williams and his whole family. They lost a child in the last week or so, and that is a incomprehensible thing to go through. And if he was to shut it down for the year at this point and to just be with his family, I would be 100% for that. I hope that him and his family have all the support they need during this time. So I figured that's the best place to start. But as for the rest of the 49ers, Nick Bosa might not play once again, which would be rough. Dre Greenlaw is practicing but not likely to play still, injury-wise. Fred Warner still is on his broken ankle. And even with all that, I think there's a chance that they could beat this Bears team. Just because I think the Bears are just a team that finds ways to lose. I hope. I reached the point with the Niners where I'm like, it's just not our year. And once I reach that point with my teams where it's not our year, I would rather we just lose out, just get us a good draft pick, and reload with good players. Like, pick high in the first round, pick high in the second round, high in the third. Like, you get all those. We always have a lot of comp picks, too. So I hope Chicago actually wins this game. I am at the point where I am ready. I am ready to embrace the offseason. I'm ready to embrace a reload. And I'm ready to just root for the Lions or the Bills to go win the Super Bowl. So I hope Chicago wins, but God, I have a really bad feeling that this is the type of game that we could win. It's in San Francisco. This is not the Bills or the Packers. I mean, with Nick Bosa being out, we haven't been able to get any pressure. So if he plays, I think there's a chance we win this game. If he doesn't, I think we'll lose because I just don't think that our defensive line without him is good enough. I'm going to take the Bears because I want it at this point. Just give me my offseason of full reload, and then we can just prep and hope that health breaks our way next year. But start finding the next phase of this team with a draft pick full of a high selections in each round. So I hope the Bears win. I'm going to take the Bears, even though San Francisco is the exact type of game that they would win, just to play with my emotions. Chargers at Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Okay, this is a hell of a game. The first time they played this game, Chargers, it was like the 1 week of the year where the Chargers were just completely beat to hell injury-wise, and it wasn't that great a game. I think that this is going to be a really good game. I think this is going to be a close game. I hope the Chargers win, and God damn it, I'm going to take the Chargers to win this game. I've said all year that the Chargers and the Chiefs were going to split. Normally, I would rather have picked the Chargers to win their home game. But the way the Chiefs are letting every team in the league, regardless of how good or bad they are, hang around in these games, I'm going to say that the Chargers still get the split, although it scares the hell out of me to do it. But I will be happy to admit I was wrong if the Chiefs win it. But I predicted a split with the Chargers and with the Broncos for the Chiefs in the offseason, and I'm going to stick with that here, despite the fact that they've found miraculous ways to win. I mean, that's a 5-loss team at minimum, where they have just been absolutely saved by some of the most miraculous luck I've ever seen. And by the way, I do want to say this. Not all of it's lucky. Like, there's a point where it's like, is it generally a lucky play? Yes. But the Chiefs are a team that's good and has a lot of confidence and belief. So they're going to make some of those plays. I'm saying that the sheer volume of times that it's happened this year, that's lucky. Like, they've just won games in ways that usually a team might get one of those a year, and they've had about 5. So I'm going to say that the Chargers just don't make the mistake, which is rare for the Chargers. And I'm going to say they go into Kansas City, beat the Chiefs. All right. Monday night, Cincinnati at Dallas. Boy, oh boy. This looked like a really good game before the year started. Cincinnati has a very powerful offense and a atrocious defense, whereas the Cowboys have a pretty mediocre unit on both sides of the ball. I hope Cincinnati wins this game because it at least makes the AFC playoff race interesting, I guess, even though the Bengals aren't going to get in there. They could potentially at least, have, they could create some interest, I guess, just down the line. Maybe we hold our breath for a week, given that Denver's got the 7 seed. They're on a bye week this week, along with Indy, Houston, Baltimore, Washington, and New England. So we got a lot of byes this week. If Cincinnati wins this game, they're still out of it, in my opinion. I don't think they could make up the ground because I don't think Denver's going to fall off a cliff. But at least they could stay relevant. Although for Bengals fans, I don't know. At some point, is it worth it to just – this is my thing with the 49ers. If I'm a Bengals fan, I'm like, at this point, just let us be bad. And we'll just pick the best defender on the board when we get there. And – it also opens the door for a real conversation about, okay, what needs to change in this organization. As for Dallas, I think their fate's already sealed. They've already won a few games. Like, they've won the last 2. Washington was a surprising one, but the game against the Giants was not surprising. Dallas is not good, and they're not making the playoffs, but they gave themselves a little false hope there. I think Cincinnati's going to go in, and I think Cincinnati might blow them out. Because I think Cincinnati's going to put up almost 40. And I think Dallas, on a good day, is going to put up. The Bengals defense would have to be so bad to lose this game, and they have been. But I'm going to say that this is the game. Cincinnati putting up like 38 points will be enough to beat Dallas. I think Dallas will score like 21, like low to mid 20s, which is still bad for the Bengals defense. But there's no if the Bengals lose this game, man, you are finding some creative ways to screw up. So I'm going to take Cincinnati, and that is it for Week 14. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. I hope your team comes out happy and healthy, certainly happier and healthier than mine. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the video. Have a great weekend. Peace.